In the blink of an eye, children grow up and have children of their own, and parents become grandparents almost before we know it. In one small American town, the transformations have all been caught on camera. Josh Landis is our guide.
Oxford, Iowa doesn't mind taking it slow. Tractors share the road with truckers. Kids walk to school. So it's fitting that this is a story more than 2 decades in the making. It began in 1984 when Peter Feldstein, a native New Yorker, decided to get to know the neighbors.
I lived in this town for 8 years at the time, and when you live in a place like Oxford, you're a stranger for 25, 30 years.
Feldstein was a professor of photography at the University of Iowa, and he had an idea.
I felt like, people don't really know me, and I just started this. I thought, I can photograph everyone in Oxford.
He sent a letter to every resident inviting them to come as you are and stand for a photo.
Nobody bit. And I finally started grabbing kids off the street. Something today I'd get arrested for. On the way home from school, I'd say, come on, let me take your picture.
He started this project, and it was kind of a weird vibe went through the whole community because here was somebody who wasn't of here.
Bob Tandy wondered why an outsider would take such an interest in them. But Feldstein convinced Bob and his mother, Kathy, to pose.
Once it got started, people kept saying, did you get your picture taken? Did you get your picture taken? And if you didn't, you get out and have your picture taken.
Eventually, almost everyone in Oxford stood in front of the camera. Feldstein exhibited the pictures for the town.
This is exactly what it looked like.
When you showed them the first time?
Yeah.
At the American Legion?
And there were 15 of these. People were standing in front of these and just going over grilling every one of those photographs.
It was a huge hit, and then it was over. Feldstein put the photos away. 20 years passed, and then one day, he got to talking with his friend and colleague, Stephen Bloom.
I said to Peter, hey, whatever happened to those photographs you took so long ago? Like, when was it, 84, 86? And Peter said, I still got them.
He encouraged Feldstein to find the same people and shoot them again.
So I started taking some photographs. I took them to Steve, and I showed them to him.
And I was blown away by them. I mean, you could have scraped my jaw off the floor of the porch.
He said, you've got to do a book. I said, okay, I tell you what, I'll rephotograph these guys if you interview them.
One by one, he took their pictures and Bloom wrote down their stories. And together, they created the Oxford Project, the story of how a town has and hasn't changed over 20 years.
That smile is what I felt like growing up in here was about. I loved growing up in this town.
Jen Walker moved away and got married, but she comes back almost every weekend.
Here we rode our bikes everywhere and just, felt completely safe, and you didn't have to lock your door, and it was the perfect mix.
If you had to describe Oxford in one word, what would your word be?
Easy. It just always felt easy.
The pictures capture the dings, nicks, scrapes, and scars of all those years of life. John Hahn looks as if he's changed centuries.
I made my entire living at that time building tents for reenactors, Civil War, Revolutionary War.
I noticed in the old picture, you had a rifle or a muzzleloader in one hand.
Yeah.
And in the new picture, you have a Bible.
Yeah. That kind of changed weapons. And I'm pretty good with either one.
Calvin Colony didn't wear a costume back in '84, but he showed off a wild side.
A lot of our neighbors weren't too happy about it, but kept the kids out of your yard,
Calvin gave up the Lions. Today, he plays with planes.
Thanks for having us to your town.
Oh, you bet. Our pleasure.
Some people barely changed at all.
This is Don Saxton, he's the mayor. He's wearing the same pants. He's wearing a striped shirt. His watch is in exactly the same position, which is oddly high up on his arm.
Through the years, the uniforms, the overalls, the hats and pens in the pockets endure. hands and stances remain in place. And on a recent Saturday, the stars of this time capsule gathered for an autograph session and celebrated the yearbook of their lives.
There's me. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And that's you.
That's me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Look how long my hair was.
I don't know if they forgot about me or not. Oh, you're in there. You're in there.
Patty Hackathorn had an eye for Argyle back then, and she wore the same sweater 2 decades later.
They don't call me Patty Packrat for nothing.
I see a lot of hair loss. That's what I see.
Bob Tandy has lived the changes.
When you look at these pictures, what do you feel? What do you think?
My little brother Kerry just had a son Monday, a week ago tomorrow. I look at a little boy who now has a little boy.
Tandy's parents and brothers travel through time with him on these pages. Every face reminds him this is his place.
I had a huge crush on her. These people were second parents to me. Their youngest son is one of my 2 best friends. Their dog is named Snitz. You know.
So you can just, at random, just thump to any page?
Pretty much.
And the people he hopes the Oxford Project will influence the most aren't even in its pages.
I want my daughter to see this. This is her history as much as it is mine and my father's and my grandfather's and my great-grandfather's. So I hope it reminds Oxford of its sense of history and just how beautiful a place it really is.
And the man who just wanted to meet the neighbors found he's now part of the fabric of his town.
Thank you very much.
Was there a moment where you felt like, I am part of Oxford?
It has, and it's happened with this project. Just been wonderful. I love Oxford. I'll never leave here, except in a box.